Is it okay to reuse your passwords?
No, it's not okay. You should find your own algorithm, or at least use a password manager.
Password manager?
Yeah, and you
Okay.
should only remember one password, the master password for the manager. I mean, yeah.
Right, of course. So, for people who, after their education or during their career, decided that, okay, this career is not really for me, I want to move to cyber because that's really interesting,
Yeah.
that is difficult for them to then achieve technology or technical knowledge at that time, right? So, how can a person at that time move the career and get into cybersecurity and build a career?
Yeah, I think that is a very hot topic right now because there were some studies that came up and say that there are like millions of unfulfilled cybersecurity jobs and not enough persons to cover it. So many people want to break into cybersecurity and shift to that field. I think there are many ways that you can do that.
What is the first thing you should do if your company is facing ransomware demands?
Okay. First of all, we should isolate the system, so we said before, and start thinking about you're going. Start implementing your incident response plan, and not paying the ransom, of course.
Not paying the ransom. Okay.
Securing an organization is more like a marathon, not like a sprint.
What should you do if you think your identity or accounts have been compromised?
You should, first of all.
Hi, George. Welcome to Cyber People
Hi,
Talks.
Chris. Nice to be here.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. And I'm happy to be here today.
You just came from Greece about 3-4 days back, right?
Correct. That's
So
right.
you are Greek.
Yeah, I am originally from Greece.
So great. Tell us something about yourself, George. What do you do? How did it all, for you began? What has been your journey?
All right. So I'm working in cyber for about 15 years, but honestly, I think I started studying since I was in my early teens. So I was always drawn and interested in what makes computers tick, how networks work, and what you can do to break them. So that's when I first started reading stuff back when the internet was a more safe place, let's say. And I remember back then I was playing role-playing games, RPGs, and my first actual hack was to make my characters level up by editing the in-game stuff. So that's when I realized that, oh, that's very interesting. And
So you actually hacked?
yeah, I hacked the game and I leveled up my characters right away. So I gave them all the skills they wanted. And back when all the game data were stored in the computer, they were not servers that you had to communicate with. So everything was stored locally, and you could do whatever you wanted. So yeah, that's how my whole interaction with the cybersecurity field has started. Back then, I didn't know it, of course, and I decided to pursue that career at the end.
So did you do any education in cybersecurity?
Yeah, so I've a bachelor of informatics, and then I specialized in cybersecurity. And originally started my career actually working in IT because back then, everything was a little bit more compacted. So there were all the roles were not segregated enough to be, cyber was not booming like it is right now. But after a while, I decided that that's my calling. So I shifted into working purely for cyber.
Right. So you actually studied technology and you studied technology within cyber.
Correct. Yeah.
Do you feel that people who want to get into cybersecurity should have a combination of technical knowledge and the GRC knowledge, or any one of them can take your career ahead?
I think that it's a very good combination to have because there's some false perception that you don't have to be technical if you're going into GRC, but the reality is that you are much more. It makes your job much more easier when you can understand the inner workings of the systems and how those things can affect the cybersecurity posture of a company. It's much more useful for you and easier to communicate with the technical persons in your team and in the other departments.
Right. So, for people who, after their education or during their career, decided that, okay, this career is not really for me, I want to move to cyber because that's really interesting,
Yeah.
that is difficult for them to then achieve technology or technical knowledge at that time, right? So, how can a person at that time move the career and get into cybersecurity and build a career?
Yeah, I think that is a very hot topic right now because there were some studies that came up and say that there are like millions of unfulfilled cybersecurity jobs and not enough persons to cover it. So many people want to break into cybersecurity and shift to that field. I think there are many ways that you can do that. Either you can start studying, taking more formal education steps towards that part, or by using certain platforms that help you gain technical knowledge and upskill yourself, or pursuing a certification is also a viable means from that. But you really have to find out what works for you best, depending on your level of knowledge, of course.
Right, right. Something about you, George, that people don't know. So, what would you say?
What I would say that part is that I recently started my own startup that doesn't have anything to do with cyber. So me and a group of friends, we started actually a social game, which lets you play with your friends with photographs, and later on we will also incorporate video. And it's actually based on challenges. So you challenge a friend using a photo and a theme, and he has to respond with a photo. The people on the platform vote, and the photo that gathers the most votes wins. There's leaderboards, badges, levels, and all that. And it's a game, a gamified approach into social media, actually.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
very interesting. So, basically, getting the confusion away from people, right? So, if
Yeah.
they're confused about buying something, they can look for votes and then go ahead and make a decision.
Exactly. For example, you can upload 2 photos when you don't know what to buy, and people can give you their opinion about what works, what looks better on you, for example.
That's amazing. I think that's very useful.
It could be, yeah. Let's hope
Well
so.
done.
Thanks.
Congratulations on that. And what is your mantra in life? What keeps you going?
I think what I would say is that I try to give kindness to people. So if I think if you're kind, it will eventually come back to you. Not in the sense that it's owed to you, but the positive energy will attract good things that come your way.
Lovely. Yeah, that's a very nice thought. Let's talk about your current profession, George. So can you tell us what exactly do you do? Where do you work? What is your work?
Sure. So I'm the information security officer for EMEA for NEP Group. I'm responsible for the cybersecurity part of the European operations. And my current focus right now is governance, risk, and compliance, and also anything that has to do with developing the current posture and protecting the company in terms of cybersecurity.
Right. So you said NEP Group. So
Yeah.
as far as I know, NEP is into media and broadcasting.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
How does cyber security play a role within this sector?
That's a very good question. So the media sector is a little bit, left in the outside, if I can say it that way. So it's not like it was targeted a lot in the past, like banks or other critical sectors. So right now, with the whole rise of AI, various tools, and all that, people are starting, and by people I mean malicious actors, are starting to look into more softer targets, let's say. So industries that do not have the cybersecurity part incorporated into their DNA yet. So the media sector is a little bit underdeveloped in that part. So I think cybersecurity will and plays and will play a major role on protecting the industry, especially right now where, for example, the war with Russia and Ukraine, people were starting to, malicious actors were starting to try and take over channels into broadcast propaganda and all that. It became a major concern for many channels.
Right. Do you have any hacking example that we can look back into?
Yeah, so the one of the recent ones was the Ticketmaster hack, but not focused so much on the media sector. But Ticketmaster is a big provider of tickets for live events and all that. So the leak was around 500 million data, 500 million physical person data that were leaked. And there was also another one. The streaming provider Roku was also hacked, and they took like 500 million persons' data from the provider. So there's an ongoing trend of stuff that's happening. Of course, there were bigger situations in the past, like the Sony hack in 2014, where I think it changed everything. After that, too much focus was provided on the sector after that part. So it's an ongoing effort.
Right.
Securing an organization is more like a marathon, not like a sprint.
Definitely. So, what do you think would be the reason for these people to target the media company? What is the intention behind it? Is it only money or is it something else also?
It could be, but generally speaking, money is the first motive of the bad actors. But it could also be related with disrupting a service. It could also be related by damaging the reputation of a service, depending on the situation. But mostly, money is the biggest motivator in those situations.
Right, yeah, I thought so. And what is the recovery process? So once you get to know, I mean, either you get a call or something. First of all, how do you get to know that you are under attack?
Okay, that's a good question because it widely depends and depending on the safeguard measures that you have implemented within your company. So I guess the earliest on that you are aware of that something is happening, it's best for you because you are able to react and do and be more, let's say, efficient on the recovery process. But in the adverse situation that something happens and you learn of it after it happened, like the situations we discussed before, like Ticketmaster, for example, the best thing you can do is to trace back and follow the evidence to understand better why it happened, how it happened, which systems were involved, and all that. If it is in progress, the best thing you can do is to isolate the system as fast as possible.
Right, right. So the recovery process would be immediately first isolate if it's going on.
Yes. If it's ongoing, you should isolate the system, and then you should try to see if there's anything other happening. Because sometimes systems are attacked as a smoke screen, where to attract your attention, whereas the real target is something else. So if you see something that it might not really make sense to be attacked, you should start thinking that okay, maybe this is just the first step towards a bigger operation.
Right, right. Interesting. What are the day-to-day challenges that you face in your current role?
Well, I think the most usual situation for people that work in cybersecurity is, incorporating all these cybersecurity tasks within the company culture. Usually, people, when you put more work to them, you don't react very well. So the goal here is to bake into the daily processes and the daily tasks of every department the cybersecurity part, so it doesn't feel like it's something that sits on top, like an add-on. It should be something that is part of the process as well. So I think this is the biggest challenge: incorporating new cybersecurity measures within the ongoing process for the organization.
So you feel that people are a little skeptical in taking on more things than their regular job, and they feel that it's not really as important at the moment.
Yeah, that could be one case. I mean, people would not be able to immediately see why what they're asked to do is relevant to boosting the security posture of the organization. That could be one, but that can be easily solved if you communicate well enough why this is happening and why we need to do that. The other thing is that it's generating more steps towards achieving something, and this usually is translated with more work for them. So what we intend to do is to keep a balance between what makes sense and what is not disruptive enough with with the ongoing work of the department.
Right. And do you think people respond well to that?
I think they respond better when they understand that you do care about what they do and you do care about what they have to do in order to comply with whether that be regulations, a new policy, a new procedure, or whatever. And you're not just imposing stuff on them.
Yeah, yeah. So, you've reached a stage where you're leading the information security department within EMEA. What is next for you? What do you think we need to incorporate as an ecosystem within an organization to keep ourselves safe? What do you think should be the next level to achieve as an organization?
Well, in terms of the cybersecurity industry, I think we should be able to embrace, all those people that want to jump into the field and create a community where we support each other and share information, and not create isolated, groups or not providing all the data for a situation, for example. So I think it should be transparent and open community where people can freely have access to the information and knowledge. Um, of course, in a more generic way, not things that are a company private or something. But I think there are many people out there that want to jump into the field and they don't have enough information about what they should do, why they should do it, what should be a good fit for them. So we need to talk more and network more.
Right, right. Yeah. And build, like you said, a community
Yeah.
where all the questions are answered and
Yeah.
support is offered.
Yes. Correct.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. There is a lot of artificial intelligence going around, within this field. How do you think it is going to change within the cyber world? What will change in the cyber world with AI coming in?
Well, AI right now is a very hot topic as well. And in cybersecurity, especially, plays a major role because many companies are right now in the process of thinking, at least implementing AI workflows within their departments. So we certainly will see many great things in the future. But right now, we need to be a little bit more cautious and skeptic on how these things that we're going to implement are going to affect the company in the future. For example, there have already been situations where developers of a company posted production code within an AI ChatGPT stuff platform, and this got leaked, and the model could use parts of the code to suggest things for other people making such questions. So we need to be very conscious on the models we are using and how we implementing them in our workflows. And of course, for the cyber part, it makes it more easy to develop sophisticated attacks by people that do not have the knowledge of doing it in a way. So using the AI tools, we get them access to information that previously did not have.
Do you think organizations today or experts today have the knowledge of AI to help organizations overcome the unknown?
Well, they certainly have the resources to do so, even if they don't have the knowledge. So it's I think it's debatable at this moment, and most organizations are trying to, at least.
Right. And
Yeah.
and you feel that organizations or companies are open to new ways of working with AI?
Well, if they're not open, they should be, because that is where things will be headed eventually. But I do understand that being a little bit skeptic at this stage makes sense, because we are not fully aware of the consequences of how things will play out.
Yeah, yeah. Very interesting. We have a fun round, George,
Yeah.
that I would like you to introduce. Got some questions here.
Sure.
It's called a rapid fire round.
Okay.
I have 10
Fire
questions.
away.
Fire away. I've got 10 questions for you,
Yeah.
and you need to answer them as quickly as possible.
Okay, I will do my best.
Great. Shall we begin?
Sure.
Okay. What is the first thing you should do if your company is facing ransomware demands?
Okay. First of all, we should isolate the system, so we said before, and start thinking about start implementing your incident response plan, and not paying the ransom, of course.
Not paying the ransom. Okay. All right. What should you do if you think your identity or accounts have been compromised?
You should, first of all, try to change all your passwords. Then notify your financial institutions about something strange might be happening, or freeze your credit cards, and then move on to understand the rest and what are the next steps, like calling the police or whatever.
Okay. Is it okay to reuse your passwords?
No, it's not okay. I know it's difficult for many people, but what I usually say when they get this question is that you should find your own algorithm to produce your passwords. So something that only you would know, and could be also have a static part where it's relevant to the page that you're viewing, and you should reuse that and have a different password each time, or at least use a password manager.
Password manager?
Yeah, and you
Okay.
should only remember one password, the master password for the manager. I mean, yeah.
Right, of course. Okay. What is the best way to minimize your digital footprint?
The best way to minimize your digital footprint, not being the internet. Yeah, so I think that is one of the toughest questions right now, because we are connected all the time, using our phones, using our cars, using anything. So the less you're exposing yourself online, the less you'll be worried about having a big digital footprint.
Okay. When using VPN, what is that one thing that cannot hide from the hackers?
From the hackers, that you're using the VPN, and yeah, that's the only thing that you can always be sure that people are seeing, or the internet provider is seeing, that you're proxying your traffic through a VPN server.
Right. So that's the best way to go about it.
That's the one thing that you cannot hide from the rest of the world. The rest of what you're doing, you can hide, because you are tunneling through a VPN.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Which part of your car is the most vulnerable to hack? The cruise control,
Okay.
the entertainment system, or the wireless key fob?
All right. I would say the entertainment system, because it's in the car that is the most interconnected system with all the rest of the parts. So yeah.
Okay. So the entertainment system. All right. What is the best payment method to use for online buying?
For online buying, proxying through a third-party provider that doesn't disclose your data, like, I don't know, I don't want to promote any any companies, but like PayPal or Google Pay, they don't share your data with someone else. Or you can use a credit card with two-factor authentication, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. What is the weakest link in cybersecurity? Is it weak encryption? Is it humans? Or is it short passwords?
I think the answer here is always humans. Unfortunately, we are the most easily exploitable resource in the cyber chain, and because we are, easily and emotionally deceived, sometimes, and urged into, for example, clicking a link or opening an email or a file or something. So yes, always the human, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. If you left your phone somewhere, what should you do?
If First of all, you shouldn't do that. You should try to be mindful of your phone. But if it does happen, you should try to locate it using a service if you have activated, like Find My Phone or something like this. Then you should call the company, or if it's in a bus or in a taxi or something, and let them know that you forgot your phone there. And at the same time, you should lock your phone remotely. And if within a reasonable period of time you don't have anything, you don't hear back from the company, or you don't find it, you should try to erase it remotely.
You should try to erase your
Erase
data
it remotely, yeah.
Okay.
And proactively, if you have any worries, you should also change your passwords.
remotely.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. One digital safety rule that you always follow.
I never click on online links without knowing, when they include on emails that I don't expect about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the best advice I can give. If it would be one thing, you should never fall into the trap of the false urgency. You receive an email that says, "Oh, you need to do that right away because your account will be blocked." There's always another day, so don't get in a hurry. Read carefully, see the link, and always verify before you click.
That's a great tip, George. Thank you so much for coming over, talking about your journey, and giving us so much of information about how we should actually go about in our day-to-day life and being safe.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
You're most welcome, and thank you guys for watching, and hopefully we see you soon again with the next podcast.